Here we are back to the Myth series in depth, where I will show you the final mission for the Myth 2 Soulblighter campaign. It has been quite a journey so far, hasn't it? I will do my best to close off this game right. Let's jump right into the journal and get this show on the road.
Monday, April 27th, Tharsis. Soulblighter has done the unthinkable. With his army scattered in disarray, he fled up through the Eye of Tharsis and into the very bowels of the earth. I can hardly blame him. The sight of Ulrich hacking his way through the enemy, Balmung flashing in his hand, caused many of our own men to stand aside in awe. If it were anyone other than Soulblighter, I am sure we would just wait outside the volcano until they had been roasted alive or had succumbed to the poisonous vapors. Unfortunately, he has survived worse, and we must follow him. None of us are foolish enough to believe that Soulblighter fled because he fears us. If he plans on dying, it will not be quietly or alone. Ulrich believes he has deliberately chosen this place for his final stand. Whether or not he will be able to escape the cataclysm he plans to unleash by destroying Tharsis and shattering the cloud spine must not matter to him anymore. Soulblighter, like Balor before him, seeks not to conquer, but to destroy, to be master of the unthinking dead and their blasted lands. So Ulrich is gathering all who are fit to enter Tharsis. The walking wounded and those weakened by fighting will not be idle either. They will see to it that what is left of Soulblighter's army is returned to the earth. And so I hurriedly record my last thoughts before entering Tharsis, and leave my journal in the care of our surgeon, knowing that I may not return, and that it may not even matter. Either we kill Soulblighter and his minions here, or we die, and the world with us.
There is a journal image that shows Soulblighter just before he fled into Tharsis. Soulblighter chose to make his final stand here. It was no mistake. Another journal image shows Ulrich and his forces laying waste to Soulblighter's Macridia horde. With the Balmung sword, Ulrich was quite a force to be reckoned with, but unfortunately his sword broke with his confrontation with Soulblighter. There is a journal image showing Ulrich's forces resting outside of the volcano. The journal for this mission occurs 2 days after the last mission in which we drove Soulblighter into Tharsis, so the troops have taken a quick break. It is obvious to Ulrich and the rest of the Legion that they must follow Soulblighter into Tharsis and put an end to him. Not only is Soulblighter likely to survive inside of the volcano, but also he is likely up to no good. Soulblighter plans to sacrifice himself in order to destroy the volcano and much of the cloud spine and the world of myth with him. The journal talks about how Soulblighter's main goal is to bring about destruction. Perhaps conquering the land is more of a secondary goal to him. It would make sense for Balor, being possessed by the Leveler, to want to destroy humanity. But how dark of a fallen lord could Soulblighter be that his only purpose is to destroy the world? The last journal image shows Ulrich preparing to go into Tharsis to face Soulblighter. The funny thing is that Ulrich got the Ibis crown, but he isn't even wearing it into battle. I guess that defeats the idea that Balmung and the Ibis crown somehow go together. Ulrich has been a very important part of the story, and he is the only one that will have a chance of defeating Soulblighter for the Legion. The world's fate rests on his shoulders. Now before we jump into the mission, here is a cutscene for this mission. At the start of the cutscene, there is no smoke coming out of the volcano, but after Soulblighter starts casting some sort of spell above the molten lava, the ashes and smoke start rising out of the volcano. Clearly, Soulblighter's spell is causing the volcano to erupt. I wonder if Ulrich and the Legion went into Tharsis as a response to seeing this. It would definitely be quite startling to see a volcano begin to show signs of eruption when you are literally standing right outside of a cave going into it. Now let's jump into the mission. Soulblighter will shatter the cloud spine unless he is stopped. Ulrich must confront and kill him.
If he isn't stopped, he'll shatter the cloud spine.
Alright. When we first start, we got a bunch of Thrall and Soulless on us, so we gotta quickly deal with them. So we want our units to run up really quick, because they're gonna try to kind of pin us in the corner. You can kind of send all ahead and have your units kind of have the Thrall kind of chase them somewhat. In fact, if you want, you can kill some of these Soulless with them. We got our hearing guards over here. If we want, we can have them. Oh yeah. Hearing guards can easily kill some of the enemies. Very nice. One of our doors is here. We'll go with the other one. Alright, there's that first group down. I've seen people kind of like send Ulrich ahead and kind of dance all over the place and get all these Thrall chasing him, so you can definitely cheese it better than I did, but you know, I'm trying to there's just too much micromanagement. I feel like it's easy enough to not just do what I did. I wonder if I can just put him under this bridge and they'll just go and stuff. They hit him there. Or they can. I guess I could have dodged him better, but oh well. Now, normally some like Recruitia and Soulless here. I'm not sure if it's because like I'm too far ahead or whatnot, but whatever. Oh wait, they're putting. Interesting, they're here this time. I didn't expect these guys to be here. They must be positioned randomly or something like that. Ulrich has a lot of health, so I'm not really that concerned about him taking damage, because if I heal him, like if I'm gonna heal anybody, I would want to heal Ulrich, because like when I heal him, I would gain like the most bang for my mandate crew. So we got 3 disposal dreams. There's 2 groups in Recruitia here. how many lace satchels for the one, and I think the next one I'm just gonna I think I'm just gonna use my dispersal dream on them. Use this one over here because they attack back to back, so it's kind of hard. Oh, really? Okay, we got those guys out of the way. And heal up this door quickly. I actually accidentally have my accidentally have my dwarves like some satchels here. Let's back up so I can pick those back up. Gotta be careful because there are some Cridia that could come. Kind of hitting my doors. I don't like that.
Move over. Make a hole. Where? Stand clear. Here. Stand clear. Here.
He almost got my door.
Got it. Move over.
Here comes some Cridia.
Oh yeah. Move over. Step aside. Make way for the step aside. Whee!
Casualty.
Dang it, this is not working at all. I think I might use another if that group comes in like they did right there, I might just use sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I think what I might just use another dispersal dream if they come in like that again. It's totally worth it to kill that many units. Okay, I might be able to save my dispersal dream here.
Stand clear.
Yeah, we'll save it right here. I need to save it more often because I hate having to reload for this. It's really difficult. like too far back. I mean, it's the last mission of the game. I'm definitely gonna die and lose some progress. It's not. I don't know how. If I'd say this mission is like super hard, but it's a little tricky. Let's go like this. Let's lay some satchels here.
Get out of the way. Got him.
I didn't want to throw that. Yeah, I think that this personal dream was worth it. We wasted a few satchels there, but oh well. I think we got a little bit of ways we can run before we encounter enemies again. Yeah, right up about here, start running into some more enemies. We got some like fetch and some Macridia we gotta deal with. I think they're on the other side of up here. Go on this side. Yeah, there they are. Okay, we wanna. Dang it! I'm trying to get him away from this fish. Yeah, that's the hard part right here. Is you gotta bring him away from the fetch. Cause you gotta be able to kill the fetch. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll farther back here. And I'll try to draw him out. We'll just keep shooting him with arrows, I suppose.
Move over. Stand clear. Move over.
Oh, we killed those guys. Now the fetch will be easy. Nice. Okay, that group is dead. There's another one like right over here on the other side of this little thing. They're over here somewhere, I think. There they are.
Stand clear. Stand clear. Okay.
I hate how the doors are so stupid sometimes. They're so stupid. I guess I don't really hate it, but it can be an annoyance. Let's just put it that way.
Get out of the way. Got it.
I think the fetch can't decide which way he wants to go. Come on, hit him. Okay, there we go. There's that fetch. Then I think we have some work. We get away. Ready, reload. Okay, so now we got to deal with these mercs. So we gotta weaken them with our doors. Come on, guys, run back.
Casualty.
Come on. Can't get my run guards up fast enough. Here they come. We're kind of on like a patrol. Like, don't you shoot, dwarf. Don't you shoot. I know you wanna trying to mess me up. Okay, somewhere there's gonna be another group of mercs that we gotta deal with. Probably gotta draw them out. Yeah, this group right here. There we go. Draw this group out. And mow them down. Mow down the rest of my crew. Good job, Hurons. Okay, as you can see, there's a bunch of like soulless and fetch up here. The one thing about, you know, the one thing about fetch is they do almost no damage to Ulrich. I'm gonna bring up. The only thing that does do a lot of damage to him is the soulless.
Right away.
Oh, come on, get away. I need to get my archers engaged a little earlier so they can take out some of these soulless. Come on, don't
Stand clear.
see. Where's Arlott going? Yeah, go and get him.
Stand clear. Move over.
Get him. I don't think there's that many more souls we gotta deal with. Wait, we still got 2 dispersal beams. I think I know where I want to use them. We're gonna use one up here pretty quick. Let's heal all right. There we go. That's a good heal. Okay, now we're gonna get the some satchels right here. We're gonna deal with this. There's 2 groups of mercs here. I'm gonna funnel them all into here. Looks like some of them went in there.
Stand clear. Make way for the force. Stand clear. Step aside. Whoops. Move over. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so now there's this group of... We can take care of these soulless easily with this dispersal dream, because these guys kind of... Pretty kind of stay with the soulless, so you can just kind of blow them all up together. Unless you get unlucky, I suppose. I guess there's 1 soulless left. That's good enough. I think there's still another group of recruitee I saw there. I thought there was only 2, but looks like there's another one that we gotta deal with. Got some more satchels for them.
Yeah.
Or maybe we don't. Got no more satchels. Okay. That's alright. We got some fetch behind all these thrall.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So we got a few fetch we gotta deal with. Kinda gonna distract this fetch over here with Ulrich so we have more time to shoot them. So Ulrich can take care of that fetch, and then we should be good. Save it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This mission is quite a long one, right? Because there's so many like groups of enemies to kill. Okay, nice. There's just like so many stages to the battle. We're actually we're gonna check out the way. There's some more Mercuria here that we gotta kill. Here they are. Oh, I guess they're running away. We'll have to wait for them to cycle back around. We'll just keep pressing forward. We'll run into them. There they come. I'll target that Mercuria.
Yeah.
Come on, some of you target this guy. Go help him, or I'll learn to stop watching. Okay. Got that group. I think we should have one more disposal dream, right? Yeah, we got one more. Okay. At some point, some Wahoo are going to come out right here, so that's why I'm kind of keeping my throwing guards around my doors. I mean, technically, you can blow up all the Wahoo with doors pretty easily, but I'd just rather not deal with it. There's also some more Mercuria that come up here, so we're just going to inch our way through this area.
Stand clear. Move over.
Casualty.
Dang it! He went for my stupid dwarf instead of my Ulrich. Expecting him to go after Ulrich. I should have known better. Should have sent some Huron guards over there. Here they come.
Stand clear. Move over. Stand clear. Step aside.
Alright, pretty soon these Wahoo are gonna come out. Up, unless we're gonna get some
Move over.
More
Stand
Mercury
clear.
first, I guess.
Move over. Move over. Stand clear. Move over.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep let my melee take care of this.
Move over.
All of them? There's quite a few Maher. I'm not sure exactly how many there are. Kind of just come at you all of a sudden. There's another Maher. Now there's a huge group of Mercuria right here. I guess we. Trying to remember if there's some soulless up here. I think there might be. We're gonna deal with the Mercuria with our last dispersal dream, though. I'm gonna try to take care of these soulless.
Casualty.
Let's see who has a. Yeah, let's heal up these archers real quick. Okay, that should be better. We had a few heals. We can. Might just leave the rest for now. There's another group of Thrall after this one that has, you know, 2 fetch behind it also.
Move over. Step aside.
So we can kind of.
Move over.
We want to shoot them the fetch down with our archers, just like we did the other group. And the Raul are easy once you got rid of the fetch. That's that. So we're almost at the end of the mission. Man, this one is taking a while. This might be a really long video. Okay. We got a few Mercuridia up here we got to deal with.
Stand clear. Move over. Move over.
Get away, dwarfs. Nice. That's some good arrow shots right there. Okay, so we're pretty much right on Soulblighter now. Gotta deal with these soulless, which they're really not a problem because the archers have more range, and these, for some reason, these soulless don't come at you. You can easily just stay out of their range. And just shoot them down. Let's see who has heals. We're gonna heal. Ulrich's gonna have a little chat with the Soulblighter. Well, apparently we blocked him. No, never mind. Got one herb there.
Can you feel it, Ulrich? I have killed the whole world!
I have killed the whole world. We'll see Ulrich's response in a second. I just want to heal this one archer. I didn't realize he was red. There we go.
You are mistaken, Soulblighter. You have only killed yourself.
And
Hold
Ulrich
them off.
does some sort of spell, then we gotta hold them off, and these units are gonna keep appearing, so we're gonna have to deal with them. There's gonna be some fetch and some soulless and stuff. There's actually an easy way to cheese this part, and I'm not doing this because I'm not cheesing it because I just feel like it's the end of the game. Like, you can't cheese the end of the game. You can't cheese the last part of the game. Like, that's like the climax. We'll just keep dealing with these units. It's not really that bad. We got 2 Merc there and 2 Solas. But I'll say. Okay, what's coming? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Just gotta try to keep saving it so I don't have to reload back as far. My units are hurting really bad.
Yeah.
Hit him?
Got it. Stand clear. Yes. Make a hole. Make way for the truth. Make a hole. Get out of the way. Oh yeah.
Dang it. Why did you have to throw that stupid grenade, Dwarf? Damn you, Dwarf. I don't like how, like, this elevated ground, I can't zoom out far enough.
Yes. Okay. The mic up, young man. Okay. Move there. All right. Got it. Stand clear. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this is going better. They shouldn't have any problem killing this fetch. Hit him.
Right away. Ready. Sweet.
Very nice. Okay, now deal with these souls over
Stand
here.
clear. Move over. Move over. Move over. Stand clear. Stand clear. Step aside. Stand clear. Move over. Make a hole. Stand clear. Move over. Stand clear.
Okay, that's got to be close to the end of this. Got another fetch up here. This might be the last unit, because I don't see any other units popping up anywhere. Goodbye, Soulblighter. So let's see, we got... That level took me a long time. I'm sorry for how long it had for you that watched that, how long that took. I appreciate you watching through that. Yeah, well, in the end we got 2 doors with 255 kills, which is the max. Almost. The third one was getting there. A bowman got 107 kills. It's pretty impressive. When you play the game, there is an epilogue video between the cutscene and stat screen, but we are going to go over the mission before we get into the epilogue. There is no image for the windscreen other than the background that is used in the epilogue that we will go over in a minute. The last screen shows an image of Soulblighter preparing his spell with a dead bowman at his feet. You can see the smoke rising up within the volcano, suggesting that it will likely blow in the near future. At the beginning of the mission, you can see Soulblighter casting a spell and giving off his famous laugh. Ulrich tells us that if he isn't stopped, he will shatter the Cloud Spine. Since the Cloud Spine goes through the middle of the world of myth, you can imagine the destruction it would cause to everyone. As you are walking through the cave, every now and then you will hear the volcano rumble and small rocks will fall to the ground. This only happens a certain number of times though, and there is no time limit to the mission. The hints for the mission says the falling debris doesn't do much damage except for those units near death. If you pay close attention, you will notice that every time debris falls, your units do in fact take a small amount of damage, but this really doesn't seem to have a very big impact on the strategy for this mission. The rocks seem to only fall wherever your units are located at. When we finally reach Soulblighter, there is a short dialogue that occurs between Ulrich and Soulblighter. We can see some sort of white glow around Soulblighter's hands and an outer circle of revolving orange lights around it. If your units go within the outer circle, they will quickly die. If you try to shoot arrows into the circle, they will disappear. If you try to throw grenades into the circle, they will blow up at the edge of it. Ulrich tells us to hold off the enemy while he does some sort of spell on Soulblighter. After we fend off the enemies that appear for a while, we will see Ulrich somehow cause the ledge holding Soulblighter to collapse, and Soulblighter falls into the lava and dies. The cutscene shows Soulblighter making all kinds of noises in agony as he melts into the lava. The Legion escapes, but not without the volcano erupting and breaking off the top portion of the volcano and lava spewing out. It seems that Soulblighter was somehow drawing energy to him to cause the volcano to explode, and killing him caused the energy to be released, which still resulted in the volcano erupting, but at a much lesser level than was Soulblighter's intention. Most likely several of the Legion forces had permanent damage from breathing in the toxic fumes from the volcano. In the tag files, once Ulrich is no longer in your control, the game gives him an artifact that is called Ulrich's Artifact within the tag files. For whatever reason, you cannot see this artifact at the top of the window if you select Ulrich. Now, what artifact exactly did Ulrich use? Did he use another Eblis stone that caused Soulblighter to lose control of the energy he was summoning? Or something else? I am not sure there is much we can do besides speculate. It is possible that this is some old scripting that got left in the tag files. If you notice closely, the bridge you walk under near the beginning of the mission changes and becomes closed off on the bottom as you proceed through the mission. This is because the game really isn't 3D as far as the mesh you can walk on is concerned. This was pretty common in old games. In the tag files, there was some scripting in which if you leave Ulrich behind when the bridge changes, he has something to say about it and you lose the mission.
There's no way through.
Well, this would be the case anyway if you could leave him behind and have the bridge change. At some point in the development cycle, Bungie changed it so Ulrich actually has to advance in order for the bridge to change. Something funny you can do is put some units under the bridge or at the top standing as close to the bridge as possible, and then send Ulrich forward, and when the bridge changes, these units will die.
Casualties.
Something you will see people do in old films for this game is leave one unit behind in the cave at the beginning of the mission, so the enemies who appear at the end of the mission will try to attack him even though they can't. This causes them to either attack the ground or just stare aimlessly and makes the end of the mission very easy. There are some enemy units that do not appear until Ulrich has reached a certain point in the mission. I am sure there are ways you could abuse this to avoid some of the enemies in the game. Again, we see some Maher that appeared towards the end of the mission. What could these Maher be doing here? Did Soulblighter create them? Do they just exist within and around Tharsis? If you look in the northeast corner of the map, you will see a guy fishing in the lava. This is actually the same fisherman that we saw in the first mission in the game, Willow Creek. Why in the world would he go fishing in molten lava? Is this lava really that hot? If you shoot a bunch of arrows along the rocks next to the lava, they won't burn like they should. In fact, some of the arrows can be seen sitting inside of the lava without burning. Well, that does it for this mission. We will now go over the epilogue video and discuss the ending for the game.
Monday, May 4th, 7 Gates. The fallen lords are dead, and the dark has fled the land. Now we return to the difficult task of rebuilding. It will take many years to restore our cities and recover our farmlands, and this time we will remain vigilant. I have chosen to follow the Emperor and his Heron Guard back to Myrthemne. There is nothing left for me in Strand, the place of my birth. I have become fast friends with Nine Skull Crocodile, the man who has healed the many wounds I received during the assault on Tharsis. He is ancient even by Heron standards, and speaking with him has given me some insight into what has happened to our world. There are laws that govern the workings of the universe that have remained immutable for countless eons. According to these laws, the forces of light and dark hold dominion over the world successively, the land belonging in turn to men or to monsters. Each cycle would be presaged by the appearance of a great comet, foretelling the rise of savior or destroyer. Each golden age would give way to one of darkness, when foul things would stir beneath the earth and evil spirits would plague the land. In turn, each dark age would fall to one of light. The evil would pass from the land, just as the comet from the sky. The saviors of each golden age were men who had risen to face the dark and never turned away. They were men of unflinching heroism who would not rest until they had loosened the bloodless grip of wicked things which had dominated their lands. Many of these heroes were doomed to return in the following age as fallen lords, destroying all they had fought so hard to preserve. Although the hero of every age of light is different, every dark age is ushered in by the same beast, a transient divinity that seeks only conflict, the Leveler. And so Tiresias returned as Moagim to end the Age of Reason, and Connaught, the great hero of the Wind Age, returned as Balor to lay waste to the greatest empire the world had ever known. The Leveler was never killed. He was immobilized by sorcery, beheaded, and burned at the stake in the Second Era. 1,000 years later, he was drawn and quartered on the plains before Ilion, the tireless horses dragging the pieces of his lifeless body to the four corners of the world. Again, in the Fourth Era, his body was destroyed by fire, his ashes mixed with salt and buried under the mountains of Kor. Balor, Moagim, and all those before them wore the mantle of the Leveler. When I stated that Balor was vanquished but 60 years ago, Nine Skull nodded thoughtfully. Soulblighter was not the Leveler. He may have been if he had survived into the next millennium, but in his attempt to force the cycle, he perished, and almost certainly will suffer at the hands of those who set it in motion. It is even conceivable that because of his actions, the cycle has been broken, but we cannot be sure. At least, not for another 940 years. Nine Skull chuckled, saying that with a little luck, he may still be around to see. He told me about Olmir Thenmi, describing it with words that seemed out of place coming from such a grizzled warrior. He spoke of its many spired palaces and monuments, and the grand bazaar during each year's harvest. When I told him that I wished I could have seen the city at the height of its power, he said I might see it in my lifetime. Then he told me that next year the Heron Guard will be reinstating the septennial tournament to fill out their ranks. Men of bravery and warriors of renown from every corner of the Empire will gather to compete for the honor of joining them. I will be there.
The date for the epilogue is May 4th, which is roughly a week after the journal entry for the final mission. Apparently, the narrator got his journal back after escaping the erupting Tharsis. The journal tells us that the fallen lords are dead and the dark has fled the land. The world is in a state of rebuilding. Several towns and areas were burned and laid to waste. The area surrounding Mir Themni is still a barrier and nothing like its original lush landscape. It will take a long time for humanity to rebuild that which was destroyed. The narrator hooks up with a journeyman by the name of Nine Skulls Crocodile, who explains some things to the narrator. Nine Skulls Crocodile healed the wounds the narrator sustained while escaping Tharsis. The two became good friends quickly, and they are likely talking with each other on their way to Mir Themni. Their journeyman tells us about the cycles, and I have explained these before in my videos, so I won't bore you with too much of the same information. He does say that the Dark Ages give rise to evil spirits, which you could use to imply that the Leveler is an evil spirit. Perhaps the Fallen Lords were influenced by other evil spirits similar to the Leveler. The narrator tells us about several heroes that became Levelers in the world of myth. Tircis became Moagim, Connacht became Balor. He then tells us about all the ways that the Leveler was killed in each of the ages. None of these deaths could stop the Leveler from coming back. This makes a lot of sense if you consider the Leveler as some sort of evil spirit, as he is merely possessing the body of the last hero who defeated him. If you look closely, you will actually find a noticeable conflict here with Myth 3 the Wolf Age. If you remember in the History of the World of Myth video, I was under the impression that each age of light was 1,000 years, and each age of darkness was 1,000 years. But this is actually incorrect if you go purely by the Bungie Myth games. This epilogue proves it. Notice what the epilogue says again.
The Leveler was never killed. He was immobilized by sorcery, beheaded, and burned at the stake in the Second Era. 1,000 years later, he was drawn and quartered on the plains before Ilium. The tireless horses...
If the Leveler was killed, and then 1,000 years later killed, then that means that both the light cycle and dark cycle occurred within 1,000 years. Anyways, not that big of a deal, and the conflict isn't super obvious. It really doesn't impact the story that much. The confusion might come because they say that they can't be sure if the cycle is broken or not, since they have to wait another 940 years. This, of course, is because they are supposed to be in a dark cycle right now, so they basically get a longer light cycle if you assume that the Leveler comes every 1,000 years. If you pay close attention, you will see that Myth 3 the Wolf Age changed something about the Levelers listed. but I won't tell you what it was because it will be a spoiler for Myth 3 The Wolf Age. If you know the story, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The journeyman and narrator both agree that Soulblighter was not the leveler. The ironic thing is that they say Soulblighter may have actually ended the cycle by trying to force it. This is ironic because Ulrich and the Legion also went against the cycle by defeating the leveler. It seems that everyone in this age is messing things up as far as the cycle is concerned. Perhaps this is a reason to think the cycles have finally ended. One of the main differences between this cycle and every other cycle is that Balor's head was thrown into the Great Void, so technically Balor never died, but would fall for eternity into the pit, assuming that the pit is bottomless. The only caveat to this is that the big explosion that occurs when the head is thrown in could be the spirit of the leveler leaving Balor's head. Who really knows? Let me know if you think the cycle has ended or will continue. Nine Skulls Crocodile tells the narrator about the glorious past of Neothemi and the glory of the Huron Guards. No doubt he influenced them to decide to take a part in the septannual tournament to determine if the narrator will become a Huron Guard. Perhaps if there is another cycle, the narrator will be around to be a hero that defeats the next leveler. Now, the Myth 3 The Wolf Age manual has some short descriptions of what occurred within Myth The Fallen Lords and Myth 2 Soulblighter. These were basically to remind players what occurred in the previous games to prepare them for Myth 3. Since we just covered these games, this will basically be redundant information. However, there was a section after these games titled The Future. I will read it to you and then go into a bit more detail about it. Of Balor's fallen lords, only 2 remain, though their whereabouts are unknown. Many sages and scholars look towards the future with uncertainty. The cycle of light and dark, which changes the face of the world, has been broken. As Connacht brought an end to the evils of the Wind Age, so was Balor to bring an end to the glory of the Wolf Age. And yet, in this new age, the light has remained triumphant. Many believe that with the destruction of the leveler, mankind can now forge its own path on the anvil of fate, but the future is never certain. First off, this manual tells us that there are still 2 of the Fallen Lords who remain, yet the Epilogue says that the Fallen Lords are dead. This seems to be in conflict, so you can decide what you like, but in my mind they are dead and MumboJumbo got this wrong. The manual seems to suggest that not only was the cycle broken, but the leveler was defeated with what sounds like is for good. But then it ends with the future is never certain, so I'm not sure if this really tells us anything. Thanks for watching Myth 2 Soulblighter with me. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Let me know if you have watched all the videos in the series so far. I am interested to see how many of you will stick around for Myth 3 The Wolf Age. Eventually, I plan on doing Myth 2 Chimera, so if you don't want to watch the next game, keep an eye on my channel for when that one comes around, though it will be a while. For the rest of you, see you next time when I will be introducing you to Myth 3 The Wolf Age.